Joining me this Sunday is Andrew Minott, Caribbean music executive and author, who will be talking about his autobiography, Prove Em Wrong, an inspiring and powerful book about his personal stories of overcoming adversities and achieving success. Soul Kind of Wonderful, the multi-award-winning act who recreates the magic and soul of Motown and who are also the UK's official #1 tribute to the legendary group The Drifters, are available for bookings now. 'Cause I believe in true romance.
Oh, wasn't that wonderful? That was fantastic music.
Hello, happiness. So you win again.
Do you like good music?
Yeah.
That's sweet soul music.
Yeah, yeah.
As long as it's
true, so get ready, get ready. Here I For you to me on everything, the sweetest song that I could.
Saturday night at the movies.
Feel the fun and fun. No matter, wait, I can't help myself.
If love would Lester take a chance, 'cause I believe in true romance. I'm coming back for the last time.
Okay, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are across the globe. Welcome to On the Sofa with Esther. I do apologize, there's a bit of glare. I'm trying to dodge the glare. There it is. I've got to become a midget to dodge the glare. But anyway, welcome to On the Sofa with Esther. And with me today, I have the absolute privilege of talking to Andrew Minott. And he's got a new book out called Prove Em Wrong, Prove Em Wrong. And it's a book that has many lanes to his journey, but all of those lanes have led into him being the successful CEO of Anchor Minott Foundation, as well as Global Vibes Entertainment. So, Andrew, welcome.
Thank you for having me. Thanks.
A real pleasure, real pleasure. Now, Andrew, before we get stuck in, I like to ask my guests in a nutshell, in a peanut shell, or a crab shell, who is Andrew Minott?
Andrew Minott is a man who basically migrated from Jamaica at age 18, went to live in New Jersey, joined the military within a couple months after I got here. A year after, I was in the Persian Gulf on an aircraft carrier. A few years after, came out, went to college, then came to Miami, started doing music, teamed up with my cousin Sugar Minott.
Sugar Minott, yeah. Because you had
doing
thing going, didn't you? Get it?
Yeah.
Going? Yep.
Yeah, cause he was huge in the UK, huge.
Yeah, he was.
And basically started doing concerts. From concerts, got in trouble, came back, continued that road, being a father, being an inspiration to young men, and now I'm an author. Trying to prove a lot of people wrong.
Excellent. And you have proved a lot of people wrong because of, where you sit and where you stand now. But your journey has been one of many eclectic happenings. I love that word, eclectic happenings. And what would you say to prove them wrong? what would you say for yourself, Andrew, has been the one attribute that you have gained from this journey that has proved them wrong?
I never gave up, no matter what it was. And even doing the first concert I ever did, when everybody said I couldn't do it, and I ended up being like one of the most successful promoters in South Florida. I've attained so much success. I basically broke a lot of barriers. I was the first promoter to bring Sean Paul to the US.
Oh, wow.
First time. Yeah, first time Sean Paul ever came to the US. I was the first promoter to bring Vibes Cartel to Miami. Vibes Cartel that's locked up right now.
Yeah.
The first time he came to Miami, I brought him here, and basically I did a lot of things that a lot of people would tell me I couldn't do. By me living past age 19, I proved my grandmother wrong because of my temper and everything. She said I wouldn't live to see 19. I proved my father wrong when he chose not to be there for me and said I would never make it in the military. For my whole life, it seemed like I have to be proving somebody wrong. And I hate that. So it's not like a moniker I'm wearing that I want to prove you wrong. But I've always been doubted, no matter what it is, throughout my whole life. It's like I have to be climbing up and continuously getting out of. So hey, I just wear it now and just like, you know what? If that's the road I gotta travel, that's the road I gotta travel.
Absolutely. But it's interesting because, proving them wrong, in a sense, it was proving you right because, you were finding yourself in as you climb that ladder to success. And that ladder, whether it's emotional, whether it's entrepreneurial, those different ladders made you who you are today. And without people saying to you or trying to pull you down, you might not have become the person that you are, Andrew. And the beautiful thing is also that because of those experiences, I feel, and you can put me right, put me wrong if I'm not, but I feel all those things has made you a different, a better person, but also, like you said, one of the first to do certain things. Does that make
Yeah,
sense?
it does. And they say experience teaches wisdom.
Absolutely.
Oh,
It should
my
do.
experiences, like, and when I even speak to young men, and especially like young Black men, I said, look, I've been there, done that.
Mm.
There's not many things I can say that I've never been through or experienced. And I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing, but I've been through it all. I was an immigrant. I was on my own. Basically, my father basically left me and my brother like, you're on your own, figure it out.
How old were you then as well? Were you
I was
when you came
18,
18?
but I just got to the US. I was like, I came off the plane. The weekend I went to go see my father. He said, yo, you're on your own. You're not living with me. I get an apartment and you find rent. You got to find your rent and all that. I'm hands off. You figure it out. Then
Mm,
my sister basically left us, my brother and I, and went to Louisiana. And my brother and I was looking at each other like, and I was like, look, I'm going back to Jamaica. I'm not doing this.
mm.
And my brother was like, just hang in there, stay with it. And basically, it was just that road. And then I left to join the military and left my brother now. So now I had to like figure out a way to help him because I couldn't just leave him stranded. So I was the youngest and I was sending money to my brother to make sure that he was okay. Because my
Wow.
father wasn't doing it. I knew it was so I'm the youngest and I'm
Mm.
helping him. And it was just one of those roads that I felt like it was a heavy burden, but I had to carry it. And here I am years later, still carrying that burden. So
It's
it's
interesting
persistent.
when you say still carrying that burden. I mean, in what sense do you feel that it's still a burden or, I'm just going to just tease all these things out of you, Andrew.
Yeah, because being a father and like my sons, like a lot of people, like especially the Caribbean parents, like your sons grow up, well, they're on their own. My sons still lit that they stay with me, you know. So I still help them, I still guide them. Like, a lot of times you tell young people things and you just go in one ear and come out the next, and they
People.
don't pay attention to you like, yeah, you're just old. Because I remember I wrote about in the book when I was hearing from my uncle, and I said, yeah, he just old. He just, yeah, I don't want. And I reflect the same thing that they're doing to me right now. And it's just like a deja vu kind of thing. And funny enough, you say that, I remember because I wrote this in the book too. I was on the ship at the time, and we were in port, and I was maybe 20 years old, and an older sailor came on board. So I woke up in the morning, and he stood by the rack by the bunks, and he was like, "Oh, my back." I said, "What's up, old man?" I'm, I'm just 20 years old, and I call him old man. And he looked at me and said, "Okay, young blood, okay. Keep
Mm,
waking up every morning, you'll get there."
mm,
That's all he said to me. And look at it, 30 years plus later, I'm waking up. See, so now I'm reciting the words that he said to me, and I'm telling it to my son. So I said, okay, keep calling me old. Okay, wake up, keep waking up. You'll get there too. Keep waking up every morning. You'll get there too.
Oh, wow. And you talked about the burden that you've carried for a while in terms of supporting, because you've never felt you've had that support. When you were in Jamaica, do you feel that a lot of your formative experiences were like the bedrock for you having that determination and that tenacity and that, going into survival mode that led you when you went to the States?
100%. I don't believe if I at least the stage of my life I was, if I wasn't brought up in Jamaica in the environment I was brought up in, I don't know if I would have survived, because basically I remember not having any money at all, and
Mm,
had because I had to take like two buses from where I lived in Newark, New Jersey, to get to work. I was working minimum wage, $3.25 an hour. I had
wow.
to be take so two buses, and I didn't have any money. I'd be walking. So I would preserve, because the morning I had to get to work on time. So in the evening, I would just walk home.
Mm,
I take like an hour and a half just to walk home. So it was just, and you're talking about an 18-year-old kid new to this country and everything else, walking past, the different neighborhoods and the different, and looking around. And sometimes late at night and I'm walking, and you know how it is, like back in the 80s in Newark, New Jersey, Brick City,
you
it
black.
wasn't pretty, so I learned to survive and understand, have that awareness that, what, keep about me and everything else. So it was a journey, though, I tell you that much, but it taught me a lot. Like I said, experience teaches wisdom.
Mm,
So I gain a lot from these experiences and let me be the person I am right now. So I'm
mm.
thankful for that.
And those experiences also have supported you and influenced your parenting as well, hasn't it, Andrew? Um,
Yes,
and
yes.
the connection that you've built with your own children. How many children do you have?
I have four kids. I have
Okay.
three boys and a daughter. I have a new she's almost 5, but she
Oh,
acts like she's 15.
I usually do. I've got an 8-year old granddaughter, and we just get each other. And I'm like, am I talking to my reflection here? Um,
Yeah.
but it's good. There's so much learning that we can take from them. And in terms of how you were brought up, I mean, is there anything that you see in terms of your own parenting with your boys, or do you have those moments where you think, oh, that was my
I
experience
do,
because you were brought up by
you
your
know,
grandparents?
yeah, I do. And I even talk about in the book, like my father was never there for me. My grandfather was the father figure in my life. And a lot of times, like I remember with my sons, I would say things like, what? And I'm like, I catch myself, I'm like,
Mm,
damn, that's what my father would have probably said to me. And I said, I can't make that same mistake, because he was never there for me and he was never a father to me,
mm,
and it's ironic that I talked about in the book. Life came around full circle that I started taking care of him. The last 4 years of his life, he was living with me. So he never took care of me, but I ended up taking care of him. It was just like,
awful.
yeah, it's just
That
one
is
of those things. But
because Sorry,
Yeah.
apologies. I'm just getting excited. I'll zip it. I'll let you finish.
No. But I'm just saying, it's just one of those things that life taught me, and I learned to like move past the, the downsides of everything else that I never had with him, and say, you know what, I can show him that love. You know what, it'll heal me of most people, because
Absolutely.
he was still in denial of what he did to me. So I say, you know what, at least if he don't get it, I can move past it, and my conscience is clear at that point.
You see, what you said there is so, so powerful, because it shows that, remember I said that those steps, there are sort of all these different pathways that form the bigger part of your journey and who you are now. But to be able to be in that place where you weren't even acknowledged, not just as a boy, as a black boy, but as someone's child, to be able then to, at the end of this man's life, to be able to offer him um that humanity and
Yeah.
that ability, that's incredibly powerful. um and why I was nodding very empathically is, I mean, this is your story, but if I may share, I had a similar thing with my mum, in that she always kept me at arm's length for a lot of time. I grew up with a lot of criticism, but then towards the end of her life, I ended up looking after her, and there
Yeah.
was so much healing that did for me. I had to touch her, and I massaged her, and that those being in that place takes you into a greater humanity within yourself. But also, when you talk to other boys and when you talk to other men, they can see that sort of you've surmounted so many things, but more so with your own self. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Sorry, I get very sort of very poignant, very philosophical with stuff.
Yeah. Absolutely, though. It is, though, because it's, especially from a Caribbean culture and everything else.
Absolutely.
Yeah, crazy enough. A, a young lady wrote a review on my website that she bought the book,
Mm,
but she bought it by accident. She said she thought it was a book that she needed for school, but then when she got it and she read it, she was like, "Wow!" She started understanding, because she said her father is also from the Caribbean, and
mm,
she started understanding more of how his personality was based on my experience and my stories. And she was telling me thanks and know that we're family, because she read the book. And I was totally caught by it. I was like, wow. I was really like taken back by that. I was like, I just told her thanks. It was just like mind-boggling that I felt like the book actually could help someone else understanding their own parents.
but it would help people understand things on so many levels. I mean, if we go back a little bit, Andrew, to your experience being brought up by your grandparents, um, what was that like, and was there love in that environment?
It was because I love my grandmother, and to this day, I even wear this necklace with my grandmother on it, because she was a very strong woman,
Mm,
and my actual mother was very passive, which is her daughter. So, and I remember my grandmother used to tell me that my mother she's just so passive, and she just, so my grandmother raised me and
mm.
showed me a lot of things, taught me a lot of things too, which I detail in the book about, how to be a strong man, and taught me to cook, to iron. I was ironing my clothes at age 12. I was hand washing my clothes, you
With
know,
these with the blue,
yeah,
yes.
yeah, with a cake soap. My vibes caught to use on his faces. Yes, so I was doing all these things at a very young age, so it she showed me a lot of love. I wasn't lacking for anything, but I was sheltered also. So I didn't have the experience to go out and go do my own thing like that. I didn't really get to like go out until I basically left high school pretty much, and
Wow.
experience more things and all that. So it was just one of those things, but I wasn't lacking of love. It was just a matter of I had to figure things out on my own though, like being a man, so and those are things that I pass down to my sons and stuff, that they can understand these things too.
Excellent. And from your perspective, though, what does it mean to be a man and to be a black man at that?
a lot of responsibilities because, you know, so I don't know if it's because Google has searched me and see that I did this and it's fatherhood and all that, but a lot of things pop up on the social media feed now about fatherhood and everything else. And they said it's one of the ways that, you know, the family get destroyed when the parents get separated and the boys go with the mom and the father is displaced, and then there's no one to teach the boy how to become a man, because there's a statistics that says that 70% of boys, black men that grow up without a father figure in their lives end up in prison.
Yes, yeah, my son was.
And it's such a crazy thing. So I know that I have to be a protector, I have to be a provider, and I have to be there strong no matter what it is. Look at all this stuff going on in the sports media now with that player Ja Morant wielding a gun and all that. You know, it's never a good look, because then other black boys, so okay, we'll be a gunslingers then,
Yes,
and
yes,
I
they
don't have to have a
influence.
gun. You
Yeah.
know, it's just one of those things, and I'm not judging anybody, but it's just a matter of you have to be aware. Self-awareness is something that I really talk about a lot, to be self-aware of the things that happen around you, things that goes on around you, and everything that comes on. So basically, you have to be aware of your surroundings and stuff and know the people that you influence, whether you understand it or know it or even believe it. So you got to just know these things.
But there's something about you, especially about your surroundings, understanding and being aware, especially being in the music industry. You know, that is one of the places where another place where you really cut your teeth, because you've got to have your, I say, your spider senses up all the time. I mean, what was it like?
Oh my God.
So what was your experiences? Because like I said, there are so many different lanes to your story that brings your story to who you are today. And so
Yeah.
one your family and the emotional journey with each individual, but then also you evolving into being a very successful promoter um in the music industry. And how did you wake up being in that
Actually,
industry?
see, I have this shirt on Sugar Minott.
Yes.
He actually, he was the one I actually met with when I was starting this musical journey. Like back in like 91, I flew to Jamaica to go meet with him because I was putting out the first song being produced and getting distribution in Jamaica. And I went to go meet him, and he said, he looked at me and said, "So this is what you want to do?" And I said, "Yeah, yeah, yeah." He said, and he was smoking a chalice, and he was like, he said, "You're sure this is what you want to do?" And I looked at him like, "What's up with him?"
Mm,
And then he said, do you understand what I'm saying to you?" And I sat back and I was like, "Okay, so tell me." And he said, "Make sure you truly love it. If you're going to do it, the music industry is so corrupted and have so much wickedness attached to it. And people say the glamorous life and everything else and don't know all the things that goes in it." And he told me, and he made me like really think about it. And I was like, wow, you know, this kind of deep. But I never understood exactly what he was saying to me. And later on, we spoke, and I remember, and he said, "I remember," and he laughed at me, and he said, "I told everybody, even my kids, not to get involved in music." He said, and they all did. He said, no matter what, he could never convince other people otherwise
mm,
with all the success that he had. Matter of fact, he was telling me that's one of the reasons why I even decided to do the book, because other than Mr. Angelo Elby, when I was talking to Sugar Minott about all the things, then the first major hit song, reggae hit song that hit the British charts, and number two, the Good Thing Going, the cover song he did for Michael Jackson, We Got a Good Thing Going. He went number two in the first reggae song to do that.
wow.
And he had a great success. And I was like, wow. And you know, he was the first reggae artist to tour Japan. He did so many things. Musical Youth. You
Yes.
probably didn't even know he discovered them.
Wow. Wow.
When he was
We'll have to
when
do
he
a
was living in London, he discovered Musical Youth, Pastor Dutchy.
Pastor Dutchy, yes.
And I was like, yo, you gotta write a book. You gotta let people know all the things that you've done and all that. And he was like, no, that's not him. He's not gonna do that. He's not gonna write no book. And I finally convinced him to do it, and then he passed away.
That was
So
2010, wasn't it?
2010, yeah. Because I did a concert, the last major concert I did in Miami, I did it with him. It was Sugar Minor, Barry Simon, Culture, and Maxi Priest.
That was a lineup.
Yeah, and as a matter of fact, I put that flyer in the book because it was, I have a poster that he signed too, and it was just so crazy when I think back about all that. And, so I understand how the business is musically, and then it was just like, okay, I'm going to continue doing this. And that was 2010, because we were supposed to go on some tours and everything else. And when he passed away in the midst of all that, so everything got thrown off course for a few years. And then I started doing some other things and all that. But it was a journey when it comes to the music industry, though. Because he taught me a lot about that. But, hey, if I'd listened to him, I wouldn't have been involved in it. But,
You have been, and there's a reason, because when you first mentioned that, when you came to the States, you were the first promoter to do, you broke barriers. So even that in its sense, from where you came from to landing in a place where you didn't know anyone and you had to fend for yourself and look after others, and all this, all this stuff that you had to carry, and yet you still persisted, and were the first. That says a lot. So you were the first. So like I said, there's so many different strands to this, and that's why you're saying a lot, but you're not saying a lot because you want people to buy the book. Prove M wrong.
Yeah, hey, go prove everybody wrong, because everybody has gone through adversity and face other people telling they can't do something. We all have that. And I see people saying, yo, I'm gonna prove you wrong. But it's just what it is. We have always had these adversities. People told Michael Jordan he couldn't do something. People told LeBron James he couldn't do. So there's always gonna be someone telling you can't do something. And if you listen to them, you just give up. And perseverance is what it takes, man, and consistency. But it's never gonna be easy. Trust me, it's never gonna be easy. And anybody tells it's gonna be easy, they're lying.
And it. I mean, and all this stuff that you've had to do and carry. Where do you go to exhale, or what do you do to have fun?
I go play soccer as much as I can. Because that I used to do that a lot, but father time was caught up on us, so I don't play as much anymore. I used to go play a little bit of basketball here and there. So I just like run a lot. So I like and listen music and just have just get away from that, decompress a little bit. But that's just what it is. A lot of times I just like, overthink a lot of things. Like I think about a lot of things, and like, like go in a trance, and like I'm here and I'm not here.
Yeah.
And I'm like projecting myself somewhere else, trying to figure everything out on my next movies and everything else. But it's just one of those things, though. But sports and music have always been my outlet to actually decompress and all that. So excellent. I've always done that.
Excellent. And winding down, Andrew, so you're doing a tour of the book. So has the tour kicked off, and where will you be touring?
Yeah, actually, I'm going to start in New York. I did stuff here in Miami already when I launched the book, but I'm going to be in New York June 14th at the Ashford and Simpson Sugar Bar. It's blocks away from Central Park. So it's right in Manhattan. June 14th, it's a Wednesday at 7:00. So kick off there in New York, and then I should be probably New Jersey. But I'm gonna be figuring it out as I go along. So, but I have some major cities should be like New York, Atlanta, LA, and stuff like that.
Excellent. And the last question really is, what other piece of advice can you give to anyone out there who who's sitting on the sidelines and feeling sorry for themselves. And there's no judgment because people are coming from different places. But
Yeah.
for someone that really wants to do something and people are telling them they can't, what is that one piece of advice? Yes, you still got to go get the book, but I'm just asking you now, that you can give to them, Andrew.
Never give up, no matter what it is. And I know everyone will say easier said than done, but I'm the perfect example of that. If I can do it, anybody can do it. And trust me, and it took a lot of years and a lot of downfalls and a lot of stress, but you can persevere because the sweetest victories are the hardest ones. It's just what it is. You may not see right now, but look at all the successful people. Tyler Perry was homeless, living in his car, and a lot of people can't see it because when you're in the situation, you can't really see outside of the box that you're in. And it's harder, like when will it end? Because I've been there, I remember being in an aircraft carrier and we're in the midst of a war and everybody's like, oh my God, what's going to happen? And you think you're going to be dying and all the things that happened when the USS Stark got hit, when we rescued that ship and like 40 something sailors died, that anything can happen at a given moment. Nothing is guaranteed to us. I can step outside and I get hit by a car.
Yeah.
But we have to be persistent, and no matter what anybody says, know within your heart and know what you can do and what you're capable of doing, and you never give up. Always keep pushing, never stop, never falter, never hesitate. Just know what's within yourself and know your potential and what you can do, and never stop, never give up, no matter what it is.
Excellent. And your book is on Amazon, where people can go and
You can
find
go on Amazon and get it. Prove them wrong.
Brilliant. Andrew, thank you so much. I've really enjoyed this conversation. And it's interesting. I like your dialect. I can still hear a little bit of Jamaican in there mixed with the Yankee. So, yes.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for your time and wishing you all the best. And ladies and gentlemen, I'd encourage you to go out and buy the book, Prove M Wrong, by Andrew Minott.
Vessel number 9, nostalgic 80s funk soul brand, housing the finest videos, stories and interviews from key movers and shakers in this defining era of audio magnitude, including funk soul DJ-led events, showcasing precision playlists and much more.